himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on, too much feet on the down pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah. It's all about the entertainment, so I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, look at Thompson! They haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's gonna do it! Big Barry!
The Radical Race Series, as tonight we cross over the halfway mark for our first season in 2024 by continuing our run of Japanese circuits. Last week it was Tsukuba, this time around it's Suzuka for round 6 of our championship. 8 laps for the opening race, 13 laps for the feature, with the top 10 being reversed as always. Very much looking forward to the racing once again tonight. My name is Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt once again for tonight. Looking forward to this one, James. Should be a good one. And a circuit which, as you said earlier, can be very hot and cold with regards to how it races. But we've got a healthy amount of cars on the circuit, and hopefully it's going to be a good race tonight.
Yeah, hopefully it should be. Do you know, the thing is, right, and the highlight is the Radicals for me on a Thursday, because I think they do amazing. The racing's amazing. Everything's been amazing. So although it's Suzuka and it's a bit, like we said, it could be amazing, it could be not, it might be, it might not be. I still think it's going to be awesome. And I think especially going down that back stretch, down the start-finish straight as well, I think they're the main places I'm looking forward to see.
We are, among others. Let's have a look at the championship standings going into today. First of all, though, because we've got a bit to look through after last week's racing at Tsukuba. It is Simon Edwards who's at the top of the standings with 188 points. These are corrected for drop weeks, by the way. So the 2 worst weeks out of the 5 we've seen so far, the 2 best weeks from the weeks we've seen, so the 5 we've seen so far have been taken into account here, just to clarify. John McCutcheon is 21 points further back, and James Barry already 41 points back. Luke Maxwell in 4th, ahead of Adam Tighe. Then we've got Mike Bousson in 6th place. Debbie Walter and Paul Clark are tied on 112, with Paul LeMay and Robert Woodward rounding out the top 10. George Gonzaga is the final driver to have more than 100 points. He's ahead of Michael LeMay. Phil Glover is in 13th, ahead of Damien G and Phil Jocelyn, top 15. Then it's Ben Cooper, Jamie Bird and Dan Webster, who finds himself down in 18th position, having missed a few rounds so far this season. In 19th position, a little bit further down, we've got Jeff McIntyre, who's got 80 points. Leah Anderson, new driver for the season, has gotten 20. Then we've got James McRitchie is in 20th, with 76 points. Then it's James McRitchie just outside the top 20 with Martina Ward in 22nd. Colin Wynn there as well. David Beasley is 24th, ahead of Sergio De La Cruz. Graham Brown has only been at 1 race so far, unfortunately. As has Stuart Geddes, Paul Grab, Aaron Thompson and Alan Patterson. And those are your drivers who have taken part in the season so far. It's been a fairly extensive list, and about 2/3 of them are on the grid here once again now for qualifying, which is open, of course. And they're not going to get too many laps around here, given the rather vast length of this circuit.
Yeah, they're definitely not. They've got to make sure that these count. They've got to make sure they can get these laps done. It's going to be, for me, I think one of the interesting things that we're going to have to look out for is how are they going to deal with the overall makeup of this circuit. As we know, last week we were at Tsukuba, right, which is a completely different circuit to this one. And I think now we've gone from that very short track to that very long track, and I think it's going to be quite interesting. These guys aren't no slouches. We've seen them at Suzuka before. They've done amazing, of course, here as well. But they've got 3.6 miles compared to, what did they have last week? Like 1.5 or 2 miles at the most, I think, on that one, as Paul Crabb goes off in the background there as well. So I think there's a lot more of a different circuit that they've got to contend with than Tsukuba, but I am interested to see how they get on and how they get through this one as well. And I think it's going to be a great race here overall.
I think it should be, and we're going to have a nice sixth round of the championship. It's going to be the halfway mark, by the way, at the end of this round of the championship, and that seems to be coming earlier and earlier every season, to be honest. Of course it isn't. They're always 12 rounds, these championship seasons, but they do fly by very quickly, and I think it's very hard to argue that Simon Edwards is not in the driving seat at the moment as far as this championship goes in terms of the championship standings we're seeing at the moment. We know that it wasn't a great 2023 for him, but he did win season 1, and in fact the last time and the only time he hasn't won season 1 of a calendar year in the Radical Race Series was back in 2021. That was 3 years ago, and Simon Edwards is looking odds on for continuing that run of winning season 1 3 years in a row.
Yeah, can you imagine that as a streak? You know what I mean? Winning the first season of every year since 2021, 3 seasons and 3 years in a row. That's going to be, well, technically it's 4, isn't it? If he won 21, 22, 23 and 24. You know, that's going to be a feat in his own right. But he has looked so good this year. He has looked so connected with the car. The car's just done what he wanted. And he's just been so impressive. Nobody will ever hold back if he goes and wins it. They would say it's well deserved.
Yeah, they will, but they'll be fighting to the end for sure. John McCutcheon is 21 points back, as I mentioned. Luke Maxwell already 46 points back, and that's not discounting James Barry as well, who's 41 points back. Adam Ty, indeed, only 49 back. He can score 65 on a single day, so he can make up a lot of time in one go if you can. If you're, I was going to say if you're lucky. It's not going to be luck. It's going to be if you have a good day driving, of course. But we'll see on that. Still no times come in here, by the way. Still 6.5 minutes to go, and I don't know why this is a theme of every week, but Simon Edwards always seems to be the first driver out there. He will be setting the benchmark for us here by the looks of things.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's got iRacing on an SSD, because he does load in very, very quickly once the practice is finished. And he loads in a lot quicker than others, so I do wonder if he's on an SSD, and then he basically just press go qualify and he goes out and straight away first off. Edwards has got a time on the board, then Buson, then Maxwell. Maxwell's just jumped Mike Buson. 2 men in the 154s. It's going to be such a long lap for these guys as well. 8 laps in the sprint, 13 in the feature, and they just feel like forever when you're driving around near enough a 2-minute circuit.
It is a very long way around here. 8 laps for the sprint race, as I mentioned, so you get the idea for the kind of race lengths that we're going to have. About quarter of an hour for the opening one, about 25 minutes for the second, and there is, of course, the top 10 reversed for the second as well. Simon Edwards then 3 tenths quicker than the rest right now, with Adam Ty second. Luke Maxwell is third, then it's Mike Buson, and at the moment we haven't got the likes of John McCutcheon or James Barry, the other 2 of the top 5 on the board. There goes James Barry, he's 6th behind David Walters, who I've got to say is having a fantastic season so far. He's 6 tenths away from pole as of right now, and I've got to say he has really impressed in the opening 5 rounds.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I don't think my eyes are deceiving here, but there is no John McCutcheon. I cannot see him in the session currently. Pretty sure I do wear glasses, but bear with. No, it's not here. But no John McCutcheon at the moment here, Ewan, as well. So that's going to be, well, he might join late like he normally does.
He does often join late, and sometimes from the very back of the field actually as well. He joins in, and he basically does a reverse grid challenge in the first race instead. Well, I say reverse grid, but a back to front challenge, if you like. There's David Walters through 130R, getting a big slipstream here from, I think is it Sergio De La Cruz in front? It looks like him, yeah. And so he's down in 12th at the moment, and that's probably a legacy of the fact that Walters is a bit quicker at the moment. Buson goes up to second to get a bit closer to Edwards, who extends his lead in the standings right now. Maxwell still just under 3 tenths away from him. Has that slipstream helped Walters? No. I think he's been slowed up in the corners a bit too much, and really he should have backed off on that lap and just created a bit of space for himself, because now he's starting another lap with 2 drivers right in front of him.
The problem for that is if he backed off, he would have had Paul Clark behind him, and then behind that you've got James Barry and Paul Crabb, I believe. Oh no, he's got Paul Crabb behind that as well, and then 12th and 11th and 12th, which is Gonzaga and McIntyre. So there's no real clear air for him to even remotely try and get into here either. So for David Walters, he's got to now make a decision what he's going to do. He clearly has got more pace than Sergio De La Cruz. He's just going to have to try and either sit there and make it up in the race, or he's just going to have to try and go past him. And with very little time and only coming up to the hairpin, I think he's going to struggle to do either here.
Yeah, he's not got long left now in the session, just under 3 minutes remaining. 17 times on the board right now, by the way. Phil Glover just goes into 17th with a first time of the day. There goes Paul LeMay as well, up to 4th place, past McRitchie, Adam Tighe and Mike Booson in the standings. So that's LeMay on the 2nd row for now. We'll see if he can stay there. We'll see if Simon Edwards can stay on the pole, because his gap has now come below 1/10 of a second for the first time all session long. Just over 2 minutes remaining in this one, and this is going to be not the last chance for him, not the very last chance, but it's going to be the last chance for some. Edwards will have one more chance after this one to seal pole if he needs to. It won't be any easier with that lap time. He is going to stay first, but he doesn't improve. Booson does, but only goes 4th.
Yeah, David Waters has got a purple, believe it or not, in Sector 1. Sergio De La Cruz is now on the other side of the circuit. What is David Waters going to do is put himself into 7th. And basically he said enough is enough. I'm not going to make the next one, so I will bring it in here instead. George Gonzaga going to go over the board as well. He comes in. Is he still in 12th? It looks like he still is in 12th. James Barry, purple in the last, in Sector 5. Yeah, Ewan, as he's coming through the Casio Triangle now.
Let's see if he can find the time required. James Barry has gone purple in the second to last sector. It might well be enough for pole here. He's not quite shortened the time to the line, but it might not matter. He goes over the line. It's going to be nothing. No time at all. What's going on? I thought James Barry would have had it there, but clearly he's gone wrong somewhere, because a time didn't even come up.
No, they look like he's got 3 off track somewhere as well. Whether or not he got them all on that lap, but whatever he's done, it's invalidated the lap in general, and he's going to be kicking himself here at the moment as well. 16th place, Jamie Bird is on his run down now as well. He's going to try and get up from where he is. He's got 2 greens on the board and 3 yellows at the moment. So let's see how Jamie Bird is going to be able to do here. Is he going to be able to bump himself up? He's surely got to move himself up from 16th.
You'd think so, but Jamie Bird's quite good at this. He's good at starting from the back and finishing quite well, but that's only because he keeps doing it so often. And he's down in 16th again, so it's another huge job on his hands to get through the field, and I've no doubt he'll be inside the top 10 again, I think, at the end of the first race, but let's see. Luke Maxwell makes his way over the line. He's the last driver who can take the pole away from Simon Edwards, and he's not going to. It's a 54.9, and Edwards will have pole. Paul Clark's just about going to get to the line in time as well. Is he going to improve at all? He does need quite some improvement, and he gets one onto the 3rd row for Paul Clark, and that's a good time from him. But it's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be Simon Edwards who takes the pole position, and he'll start alongside James Barry on the front row of this race here, the opening race at Suzuka this evening. Maxwell and Booster will be on row 2 ahead of Paul LeMay, and then Paul Clark with that late lap time to get up into 6th. Adam Tighe and David Walters only half a second away on the 4th row. McRitchie and De La Cruz share the rest of the top 10. There's Paul Crabb and George Gonzaga to round off row 6. Geoff McIntyre is alongside Michael LeMay. Phil Justin and Jamie Bird line up next, with Phil Glover, the last driver, set a time. David Beasley and Damien G did not, but hopefully they do take the start. Going to be an interesting start here, I've got to say. I'm looking forward to seeing if James Barry can stick with Simon Edwards as he did in qualifying.
Yeah, well, I hope so, because the last thing we really want to see, and that is just Edwards running away with it. You don't want to see that. We want some battling. We want some challenges. I'm not saying Edwards not got the ability to go and do that in general, but James Barry, if he can show that pace he had, he could be a threat to Simon Edwards here. And I say that in a way that hopefully he may well be.
Let's see as we get ready to begin this race. Can take a little while yet. Mike Boson likes to wait for the last possible second. He's not got John McCutcheon to do it with him this week, but he will still do it. Oh no, he's not last. Well, what do you make of that? He's third last instead. He'll get onto the grid. James McRitchie does the same, and I'm not sure whether David Beasley will at all, but hopefully he does. In fact, it will not be for him. The lights are on at Suzuka, and we're underway for the first race of the day. It's a drag race between Simon Edwards, James Barry, and Luke Maxwell, who's getting involved. In towards turn 1 they go. There's trouble in the background as they fire into turn 1 and 2. Simon Edwards is going to hold on to the lead with a battle for second rating behind. It's Barry versus Maxwell. Oh, side by side they go, and Barry has the position. Into second he goes, ahead of Maxwell, then Mike Boson, who's fourth.
Yeah, Simon Edwards did what he had to do. He got away, he come over, he covered off James Barry. Barry was concentrating so much on trying to cover off there Luke Maxwell. Paul Clark going side by side with Adam Tighe on the run round Dunlop now, coming into Degner 1, and Paul Clark does go through here as well. Paul Crabb at the moment on the start line. We'll have a look back at that one very, very shortly here as well. But Adam Tighe and Paul Clark literally going at each other at the moment here on lap 1, and we've still got 7 more laps of this as they're coming into the hairpin. Paul Clark does manage to hold on this time from Adam Tighe. Literally, squeezing him there as well.
Very close between the two, but they've sorted it out between themselves, and Tighe gets through into 5th position. Clark tucks him behind, and it's into Spoon they go now. The top 4 or so have gotten away, including Simon Edwards, who's actually gotten away from them, so he's in the lead on his own. James Barry immediately not able to stick with the pace, maybe partly down to the fact that the two went side by side through the S's in the opening lap. Luke Maxwell looks to rectify that now, but he cannot go through on the outside here into 130R, and so he'll have to wait for another lap, maybe even the next lap, into turn 1, which is not very far away. Into the braking zone they go, and Mike Booston was very, very late there. Very nearly went onto the back of Luke Maxwell. Thankfully didn't cause a scene, and he can let Luke Maxwell get on with this. It looks like he will do. Into turn 1 we go. He's going to look to the inside, squeeze himself down. He's got to be careful of the understeer on the inside there. Oh, and off the road. James Barry is miles away, and Mike Booston is going to pick up the easiest pass he'll have all day. James Barry down to 4th.
Yeah, Barry got it all wrong. Turn 1, he just carried too much speed there and unfortunately took straight off the side of the circuit. Gonzaga's having a battle with Sergio De La Cruz. I want to just have a quick look at what happened to Paul Crabb at the start. So Paul Crabb, we'll see what he does there. He's in the middle in the 64. He gets away. Oh, that's McRitchie. And
what was that all about? So Crabb just... If I'm reading this right, Crabb just got a tremendous start and drove into McRitchie. I thought somebody didn't get off the line, but in fact it's a bit of a slide from McRitchie actually. It's not as... Paul Crabb is not as to blame as I just referenced there, because there was that small slide. I don't know if you picked up on that, but that small slide from McRitchie as he's trying to get the power down. Clearly didn't get as good of a start as Paul Crabb, and just squirmed into Crabb, really. It's nobody's fault, really. I think it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I bet you if you ask Paul Crabb, though, he'll say it's James McRitchie's fault for not getting off the start line. So, as much as me and you would love to... Yeah, but you and I know that Crabb's not like that, right? And Paul ain't going to sit back and think, oh, it's his fault. He knows it happens, and the Irishman will sit there and just go, meh, it happens, doesn't it? We've all done it. Look at Colin Wynne, he did a pirouette the other week on the start line before he'd just come up, because it was his first race back for ages and just couldn't get the thing off the start line. So, you know, I think it's just one of them things that happened.
I notice he's not here now, Colin Wynne.
No, he's probably given up, to be fair. I don't know. He might be busy.
He can't start the car and thought, well, if I can't start, then why am I bothering? Oh, there's Paul Crabb trying to come out the pit lane here, but rather sensibly decides to let the entire field go through instead of becoming a lap car for the rest of the race, and that's probably a good thing for everybody, including him. And so he will come home 18th, but at least he'll score a few points, well, quite literally a few, for that 18th place finish in this opening race. That looks like it's going to be for him. Look at Jamie Bird. rewind about 5 minutes to what I said about JB Bird, he's going to finish inside the top 10 this race. Well, yeah, he's about to, because he's already 11th, despite qualifying down in 16th position. He's made up 5 places in 2 laps, and he is right in there, not only for a top 10, but maybe even more than that.
That doesn't make you wonder where he would be if he could just nail qualifying. If he could just nail that
top 5 contender.
Easily for Jamie Bird, could easily do that. He gives himself a challenge, and I know it's great that he wants to have a challenge here as well, but I just wish that Bird would nail that qualifying and then easily would be sat up with the others, and he's just not. He just gives himself such a job to do that he's just got to work and work and work. If he can get 10th, he might be able to get pole for the feature race. Unfortunately for James Barry, he seems to be going backwards further than he's going forwards here. He's got Adam Tighe behind him. He's got Bousson and Maxwell now in front of him. Maxwell's trying to set after Simon Edwards, and he's on a run to try and do it as well. Edwards last time out 154.9, Maxwell with a 154.7. So Maxwell did pull 2 tenths out of Simon Edwards, but it's going to be seeing now what is going to happen here and whether or not Maxwell could keep this pace up, or is he going to lose tyres towards the end of the race?
Well, that's what everyone's going to be hoping for, but there's Simon Edwards with the new fastest lap of the race. There's not much hope for them, as the 3 for third are pretty much covered by a blanket now. Adam Tighe moving to the outside of James Barry, who's, oh my word, he tries to go down the inside of Boost and it doesn't work. I've no idea how he's still pointing in the right direction, but he is down to 5th place.
I tell you what, James Barry's causing this. He's the master of his own downfall here this evening, unfortunately, because he just come in way too hot and literally had all the pace in the world and just couldn't get the car stopped. And unfortunately for James Barry, that's caused him no end of problems now as well, because he's got to go again. He's got Paul LeMay 8 tenths back away from him at the moment. This is a battle I'm interested in as well. Gonzaga, Walters, Bird and McIntyre. McIntyre's coming up Bird as well now. So there's action throughout the field, even down here with the likes of Michael LeMay, Damien G and Phil Jocelyn. We know obviously Phil, well, it looked like at one point he lost his whole front wing, but clearly he hasn't.
Well, it's back again there, so well, and make your own answers up at home, I think, because I can't give you one for that. It's there again. He's not been in the pit lane, that much is clear, because he's still with the group. So I don't know. It's back again, and maybe it was maybe on his end he didn't lose it ever, but anyway, he's there now. So that's the important thing. Battle for third still rages on, and James Barry will be a part of it very soon, all over again if Bousson and Tighe continue to battle the way that they are. We're about to reach the halfway mark in this opening race of the evening here at Suzuka, round 6 of the Radical Race Series for season 1 of 2024. Out of the final chicane goes Mike Bousson in front of Adam Tighe. He knows he has to weave around and break the slipstream as much as possible. To take that defensive line into 1 and 2, but the slipstream is overpowering on the front straight. Here goes Adam Tighe on the outside. He's not going to go for it round there on this occasion, and Mike Bousson will hold on to 3rd place.
David Waters and George Gonzaga going at it. Waters is going to try and run the outside line of 1. He's got that alongside gap. Gonzaga's going to be too nice and give it to him. He isn't. Waters backed out. I think you can thank Waters for that one. But Richie didn't make it past Bird either. What about Jocelyn? He didn't make it past Damien G this time. But I'm not going to say that these battles are not going to keep raging on here. We've only had one major incident at the moment, and that was obviously Paul Crabb on the start line. We've obviously had James Barry going a little bit too deep and cause himself no end of problems. But I think apart from that, it's all been relatively clean here. Michael LeMay is giving Phil Jocelyn a whole load of grief at the back here. And I think for for Two Brothers Racing, he really just needs to get on somehow. I don't know, dive in, do something, because he's clearly looking quicker at the moment.
Well, they're all in this group fighting with one another, and it doesn't look like one that will split apart very soon. Still fighting for 3rd place here. Mike Bousson still 3rd ahead of Adam Tighe. Out of Spoon Curve they go. A couple of seconds off the battle for the lead, which was under a second over the line last time around. Luke Maxwell has not had quite such a good lap this time. Adam Tighe, though, is having a great run onto the back straight here. It's easily going to be through for Adam Tighe. Inside line at 130R. Mike Bousson has to back out of that one. And so through goes Ty into third, and he'll stay there as well. Buson maybe will come back at him though into turn 1.
Yeah, Buson's going to be trying to get the run down, I'm sure. He needs to really have a go at him. Watch Adam Ty, he's going to be all the way across to the left-hand side. There he is, settled in. Now he's going to be wanting to come to the right again, but he knows if he leaves the door open a little bit, Buson's got the opportunity. He didn't go up the inside, and I thought he might have just stayed that way and sent it in a little bit deeper on Adam Ty to see if he's able to get it. What about David Waters and George Gonzaga? They're still in the same position they have been for the last couple of laps. Waters trying to go round. Gonzaga's on the defense here as well. He just doesn't seem to have the same pace as Waters, but it's doing a great job defensively here instead.
Yeah, he is. Whoa, very nearly got hit in the rear there on the way up the S's, but no contact for now between the two, and Walters makes sure he doesn't run out wide through Dunlop at the top of the hill there, which really can drag you out into the wall at the top at turn 7. You're too wide there. You're better off being not quite wide enough or than just a little bit too wide, because you will find yourself very quickly in the wall, but thankfully that's not happened for him. The field is very much spread out in this one now. 6 laps nearly complete, means just a couple to go at the end of this one, and the only group really remaining is that one for third position. The field very much spreading out like you would see in a Suzuka race. I can't imagine the second race will be the same though.
No, well, that top 10 reverse I think is going to play, it's going to make it very, very interesting. I think that's the thing, and going to see how Simon Edwards can cope with it. Walters at the moment putting himself on the top 10. It looks like Jamie Bird has just dropped right off here as well. Adam Ty still going at David Walters, and Mike Bruson. Mike Bruson's still going at Adam Ty. He has got James Barry closing in, but Michael LeMay going up the inside of Phil Jocelyn now. Is he going to be able to make it through? He does make it through this time around. I would be surprised if Michael LeMay doesn't get on his bike a little bit, as there's big old puffs of smoke down at Cassio there. I'm not entirely sure what went on, and I think it might have been Phil
No.
McIntyre and Glover.
What's going on there?
McIntyre and Glover both missed braking points, I think, there, Ewan.
The line of the smoke seemed to be a bit odd to me, but maybe it was just blowing about in the wind or something, because the smoke didn't really make sense. But anyway, everyone seems to be okay, and there's nobody out the race or anything. Nobody's crashed, so that's all fine. Battle for third still sort of the way it was. James Barry is here again now, but I feel like he's left this too late, and that mistake he made at turn 1 in consecutive laps actually, first by going out really wide, and second of all by spinning on the inside of the corner, has really cost him possibly a couple of places in this race.
Yeah, unfortunately there as well. The problem was he was showing such good pace here, and I thought he might have been able to hold on or at least battle Simon Edwards, but just some crazy mistakes has caused himself no end of problems. As McIntyre here as well, chasing down on Jamie Bird. He's still trying to get through. Bird's gone backwards. It's such a shame. He's up 5 places. We thought he might have got a top 10, but he just didn't, and he hasn't. And unfortunately, it's caused him no end of issues. So it does suck a little bit there for Jamie Bird, but something to work on, I suppose, for the next race. But he ain't going to be in that pole position. He's going to be in 11th place, maybe even 12th if McIntyre gets his way.
Yeah, let's see with the final remaining metres of this race. A few thousand of those still remaining, of course, but with 1 lap remaining, but not long. McIntyre now will look for the move in towards the Cassio Triangle. Maybe it's going to be too late for 130, although maybe not. Jamie Bird not quick in a straight line, or maybe lifting off, has seen McIntyre send himself down the inside and go straight through into the final chicane, and there'll be a big group there at the end as well. This race has now sprung into life on the last lap. De La Cruz looks for the inside or maybe outside line of George Gonzaga. It's going to have to be outside, and Walters may try and get there as well. Through they go. No positional change between the 3 of them. They'll trail one another up the hill as Adam Ty's made a mistake. He's spun on the way up the S's.
Yeah, Ty's looked like it might have been a turn 1 incident here as well for Adam Ty. Oh no, too close to Mike Buson, and unfortunately for Adam Ty, he's now dropped down to 8th place in the mix of this 4 here, Ewan.
Well, I thought he got out ahead of these guys, but clearly not. And, he's really in trouble now. His tyres must be roasting hot, and he's losing places left, right and centre. Gonzaga, De La Cruz and Walters all go through. But luckily for him, at least he's still inside the top 10.
Yeah, he's still there at the moment, and he's going to be on that pole position. I think for Adam Tighe, that's not a bad shout where he is, because I think he's got pace for days here. As Cruz and Gonzaga going side by side as well here. Are they going to be able to make it cleanly? These two gentlemen here battling it out. Sergio De La Cruz on the right, as you're looking at the picture, with Gonzaga in the yellow and black stripe. De La Cruz backs out. Gonzaga runs wide. He's going to come back on. Tighe's done it again.
Oh, no! Tighe and Walters have gone. Walters is in the wall. Can they both get back going again before McIntyre gets there? No! McIntyre's going to steal the pole for race 2 with a top 10. And David Walters is going to be bitterly, bitterly disappointed with how this race has ended. But it's going to be Simon Edwards who ended on top. Checkered flag for him. He wins race 1 at Suzuka to extend his championship lead even further ahead of Luke Maxwell. But what drama on this last lap.
Yeah, I think Adam Tighe hit David Walters, made David Walters loose, and then unfortunately Walters just couldn't collect it. And I think that was what mainly went on. There's the initial contact there. That gets Adam Tighe all shaky. Then David Walters gets even more shakier. He can't stop the slide, and he ends up going into the left-hand barrier for David Walters. That is a proper kick in the teeth for them two there as well, as we go back to low pitches and into the warm-up. But here are the results for you, dear sir.
Yeah, let's have a look at the opening race results. It's Simon Edwards who wins by 1.2 seconds, and Luke Maxwell boosting on the podium with James Barry and Paul LeMay, who gets up to 5th on the last lap. Paul Clark was also promoted on that lap and goes to 6th. George Gonzaga and Sergio De La Cruz came across the line together. Adam Tighe and Jamie Bird will share the front row for race 2. Phil Glover very nearly got inside the top 10 there with all the chaos around him. Michael LeMay got up to 12th ahead of Damien G, with Phil Justin 14th, with James McRitchie down in 15th, which you'll be probably disappointed with. Jeff McIntyre ended up down in 60th. Don't know how he managed that particularly, but he did. David Walters didn't finish the last lap, neither did Paul Crabb, who didn't really compete in the first lap. After we saw his opening lap incident, he finished the lap down. David Beasley not here tonight. What happened to Jeff McIntyre at the end?
Can I just safely say I don't know? Is that a fair cop? Because
I don't know either, so I'm going to say the same.
The problem is obviously when it flashes forward, everything from the previous race goes.
Yeah.
So I can't actually see. So as far as I'm aware, nothing happened to Jeff McIntyre. He just went over the line. But maybe he had a penalty that he didn't get rid of. Maybe he hit an X limit right at the end. Who knows? Well,
that was my theory, but it was only 28 seconds off the win, and you get given a lot more seconds than that, but you get given about at least 20 seconds for a penalty. So I would have expected to see him further off the leader on the results sheet if that was the case, but that's the only thing I can think of as well.
That's literally it. I can't think of anything else there, Ewan. I've got to be honest with you. I think it might have been just a delayed penalty that's given him a 40-second, penalty at the end of the race, which would be about right, but that's the only thing I can think of on that one.
Yeah, sadly I think so, but there we are. That's going to make his life a bit more difficult. Jeff McIntyre, not only is he missing out on that pole position which he would have had here, he's also not going to he's also going to be down the back of the field, I should say, and having a lot of work to do through the field over the course of the afternoon. Let's take a look at the starting grid for race 2 then, with Jamie Bird and Adam Tighe on the front row. It's Sergio De La Cruz and George Gonzaga on the next row ahead of the Pauls, Paul Clark and Paul LeMay. James Barry is 7th ahead of Mike Bousson, and then the top 2 from the last race, Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards share row 5. Phil Glover just missed out on that top 10, as did Michael LeMay. Damien G finished 13th ahead of Phil Justin. Then it was James McRitchie and Jeff McIntyre, who we're still wondering about. Then on the last row, it's David Walters and Paul Crabb. We don't believe that David Beasley will be taking part here this evening, as he didn't in qualifying or the opening race. Let's get this second race underway. 13 laps with the top 10 reversed. It's set to be frantic, and Jamie Bird hasn't got off to a very good start. In fact, it's George Gonzaga who's gotten off to an absolutely fantastic one. from the second row to lead into turn number 1. George Gonzaga with an absolute dream. Jamie Bird tries to follow him through as Adam Ty is going side by side just in front of us with Sergio De La Cruz for third.
Oh, I thought there was almost contact. De La Cruz gave him a little bit of a squeeze then. Now they're carrying on through the S's round the right-hand side. They're going to come into Dunlop. You don't want to be side by side, really. De La Cruz settles in behind him once more. Through Dunlop they go. Let's have a look. Simon Edwards jumped 1 place. Luke Maxwell's jumped a couple, but it seemed to be 3 wide. It's a Degner 1. Oh!
Well, I'm not sure how they all got through there, but they have done. It was Booson, Edwards and Maxwell who was 3 wide on the exit of Dunlop corner. And I'm not sure what Maxwell did wrong through the turn to lose those 2 places, because he was ahead before. Oh, contact as Sergio De La Cruz goes around, and dropping down the order is Paul Clark. It will be 3 wide again. The 3 of Booson, Edwards and Maxwell get through again, with Barry now in 4th place ahead of them as well. Here goes Simon Edwards on the inside of Mike Booson into Spoon Curve. There's space on the outside here to run it right round if you want to, but Booson can't do it, and Edwards is up to the top 5 already.
That's clever. Bill spun. There was a little bit of chaos went on there as well. Walters and Glover had a little bit of a moment. De La Cruz and Paul Clark as well. Jamie Bird is under attack from Adam Ty. James Barry's 2.5 seconds back. Luke Maxwell's battling away with Bousson. Then we've got Clark and McIntyre going at it as well. There's action all the way through the field here. Let's see if we can quickly have a look at the Sergio De La Cruz and Paul Clark situation. Did Clark go and try and send it up the inside? Is that what we're looking at here as well? No.
Oh, no.
De La Cruz lost it all on his own.
Yeah, well, I thought Paul Clark could be compared to Kobayashi about 10 years ago there, but that wasn't his fault. This is what happened to Glover as well.
This is Walters.
Walters. This is Walters, okay. Along with Glover just ahead of this for Walters. There was a problem for Phil Glover as well. Everyone's off the road through Spoon Curve here, and with a strange line back onto the circuit, he clobbers into the side of one of the others, and unfortunately he goes around. I think it might have been McRitchie he made contact with, and that's unfortunate for Phil Glover, who's now down in 17th position. End of the opening lap and a half though, and George Gonzaga still leads after that rocket of a start. Then it's Jamie Bird and Adam Ty with the next... Adam Ty,
Adam Ty, you all right?
I'm doubting myself. James Barry still in 4th place, and then Simon Edwards, who's just got a through on Booson there in 5th place. Luke Maxwell really needs to get through on Booson as well here to join Edwards, really.
Yeah, he doesn't want to allow Edwards to get away. The problem is Edwards is getting away, and he's getting away a bit further than probably Booson would want to. Jamie Bird's off the side of the circuit as well. Jamie Bird is off somewhere behind the tree, I think.
Spun again.
He's spun again, I think, trying to come back onto the track. And I've got a funny feeling, he's out the outside. Contact with Barry. That's put him round. He misses. Oh,
no, he didn't miss Booson, or Booson didn't miss him, I should say. And that was contact. Jamie Bird back on again now, though. 14th for him in this one. And he's doing another back-to-front challenge as a result of finding himself near the back of the field. Booson got overtaken by Maxwell and McRitchie on that straight as a result of that contact, and so he is down to 7th place now, hopefully not with too much damage.
Yeah, I can tell you what, there probably wasn't a lot in the eyesight of Mike Booson in that one. I doubt very much he saw a whole lot, to be honest with you. I think he was coming around the corner and saw Jamie Bird just coming back at him. I think that's the thing for Booson. He didn't really have a lot of options. There's Bird there. Here he comes now. Booson.
Yeah, he didn't have much choice.
No. He couldn't keep going the same way. He had to turn the other way because the way Bird was coming across the track at him there. But it's going to be difficult now if he is carrying damage to get through, get past McRitchie, to get past Maxwell, to get past Edwards, and so on and so forth. Because if he has got it, it could be top end speed that he's going to be losing here. So it's going to be tough for him.
I love how James McRitchie has got Aston Villa themed gloves as well. That's quite funny. But Anyway, he's in sixth for the moment ahead of Bousson, who doesn't seem to be doing that badly at all with damage. And by the way, Clark and Jocelyn seem to have made contact, or at least gone off together in some way on this lap, because they've dropped down the field as one, and they're now last and second last in the field. Let's see what happened. It was together.
Yes.
It was a dive at Dunlop, and that is going to be pretty hefty contact. That's going to be talked about afterwards between those two.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be here as well. But we got Mike Bousson going side by side with McRitchie at the moment as well, as they're coming down that back straight into Casio triangle here. It's going to be Bousson's going to hold on to it. McRitchie's there as well. Is McRitchie going to make a dive into Casio? He's not this time around. What about Paul LeMay? LeMay's having a right old go with McIntyre. He's looking up the inside as well. Didn't make it this time either. Phil Glover and Jamie Bird. Phil was half sent it, not sure on the send on that one, but he didn't make it through either. But Gonzaga's out in front, and the gap now is half a second here, Ewan, and he's got a very fast James McRitchie closing.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to defend from here. And by the way, these two still out front. I wonder how long George Gonzaga can hold on at the front of this field as well. Be interesting to start finding out. I mean, there's still 10 laps to go, including this one. It's, you know, not particularly worth getting overly excited about for now, but if this race goes on another 5 laps and he's still in the lead here, then George Gonzaga might well start to believe.
He's got to believe. Love it when George comes and does something like this. He got the rocket start of his life, and he literally just zoomed straight off. And we're going to have a look at it now from Gonzaga's perspective. He's on the right, second car on the right, and he just flies. No wheel spin, nothing. He has got grip for days in that SR10, and he just goes straight off. He didn't leave any tyre marks on the track there, Ewan, at all. He literally just got what could be considered as the perfect start.
Yeah, it was, well, I don't think you can get much better than it, and that is the definition of perfect, so I would go along with that. Rick Ritchie goes a bit wide through Spoon Curve. He's trying to keep up with those guys in front now, but it's proving to be difficult. James Barry is on the defensive from Edwards, as Gonzaga is to Ty, but this one's closer. The battle for the lead into 130R. That was a feint of a defence there from Gonzaga, and now he'll look down the inside with Adam Ty. No, he's earlier on the brakes, not quite late enough. Gonzaga goes a bit deep. Ty with a much better line on the exit of the corner, and now he's going to have the golden opportunity into turn 1, possibly even too close as they make their way down the straight. Gonzaga just squeezed left to right, the pit wall absolutely straight next to him on the right, and now Adam Ty goes round the outside. Oh, there's a bit of contact. The slightest bit of contact, but it's not deterred Adam Ty, who's still going for it. He'll have the inside for turn 2 if he manages it, but no, he'll stay in second place.
Yeah, they need to keep trying to get away and extend the 2 seconds they've got at the moment here over Barry and Edwards and Maxwell, because the last thing they need is these pack of wolves coming at them, which is what is happening at the moment here as well. They've got to be sensible. If I was Gonzaga, I would be there praying that Adam Ty just sits there until the last lap, couple of laps. They need to get away from these lot. These are, you know, the hyenas, and they're the gazelles, and they need to try and get away from them. 1.8, I don't think it's going to be enough. 1.5, 1.6, it's not going to be enough. I think these 4 will close in on them before the end of the race.
I think at this rate, I'm not sure. I think Adam Ty thinks this is going to go a bit quicker if he's in the lead, though, and that's why he's still going for it. But I would suggest staying in line for now and trying to push on as much as possible, but clearly that's not the strategy that Adam Ty wants to take up at the moment. On the exit of Spoon they go again, and it's Ty who's pretty close to Gonzaga. Maxwell pretty close to Edwards here as well, as he got briefly in the opening race. Maxwell certainly not going to go for it here, but Adam Ty is round the outside of 130R. He's off the track, back on again, not quite in the lead anymore, and Gonzaga is still on the outside, but Ty sent it in on the brakes. There's contact, and Gonzaga is finally displaced. Adam Ty's in the lead, but the other 4 are right there now as well.
Yeah, they're coming. We said don't fight, and they did. We said don't battle, and they did. We said you're not going to have enough time, and they're not. Adam Ty's opened up the inside.
Oh.
Gonzaga, God, George, as he goes up the inside here as well. Adam Ty's still running around the outside. They're going to be too wide coming up through the S's. Gonzaga's being squeezed by Ty there as well. And here come the other four. The Hyenas have caught up with the Gazelles, and it's all going to be now a six-way battle at this front here, Ewan, as these guys are going to continue to battle. This is going to continue to get spicier.
It's going to continue being absolutely fantastic as well. Adam Ty now in the lead with George Gonzaga in second place, and James Barry, who needs to start making moves quickly as well. As soon as you let George Gonzaga get used to yourself being behind him, it all of a sudden gets very easy for George Gonzaga to defend in this situation. And you've got the fact that Adam Ty may well get away in the lead. Gonzaga already on the defensive. This is a crucial moment for James Barry if he wants to win this race.
Yeah, for Barry, he's got to try and clear Gonzaga as quickly as possible, and I just don't... George really needs to just use the draft of Ty. Drive as he was in the first 3 laps where he had that gap. He was driving with confidence. He was driving finesse, but, going for it. And now he's got to keep trying to go for it here as well. He needs Adam Ty's drive. Gonzaga's got to try and survive. Ty brings it over to the other side and gives it to Gonzaga. That's going to pull Gonzaga in a little bit, but you can see behind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 way battle going into the last 7 laps. Barry's on the defensive now as well.
Whoa.
Maxwell!
Oh, Maxwell! Oh, he's gone too deep on the brakes, and Luke Maxwell's gone around. He needs to be careful driving the wrong way like that. He'll get disqualified, but he's okay. He's back on the road again. James McRitchie outbraked himself all on his own as well, by the way. But Maxwell's down to 8th. Edwards down to 5th. What drama here. Once again, Luke Maxwell has thrown away a great opportunity for a podium with a late braking manoeuvre that went all wrong. Here we look on the replay. Edwards was very close to Barry but doesn't go for it. Maxwell comes from a year and a half back and gets turned around, but he was never making the corner on his own anyway.
No, but the thing is, did you see how far he was braking back? He had plenty enough brake on him. It's just whether or not he was actually using it. He starts braking where you should at the bridge. Like now, there you go. He's on the brakes, just push it harder. And unfortunately he doesn't.
Well, he was going to go sailing off there if it wasn't for Simon Edwards to turn him around, although I'm not sure which would have been more helpful. Gonzaga's still in second place in all of that, by the way, and Bouson's up to 4th, with Edwards now 5th. But realistically, is this doing any damage to Simon Edwards' championship lead? Well, not really, because the only drivers beating him in the race right now are James Barry and Adam Ty, both of whom are more than 40 points behind him in the championship. And so it's not a day where he's going to be receiving much damage, and to be honest, with this amount of time remaining, he might well get back to this group anyway.
Yeah, he may do. We've got it's Simon Edwards at the end of the day. His ability, his history, his 5 championships speak for themselves. There's nothing that you could say about Simon Edwards that he hasn't already achieved, and he's achieved a hell of a lot in the Radical Race Series here as well. Bouson's giving Barry a whole load of grief. Gonzaga's not surviving at the moment because he's looking loose every time he goes into that Casio triangle. He either goes in deep or he ends up running it, gets a completely wrong line here for Gonzaga. He's got to go in on defensive. Go to his right, go to the left, block the inside of. Barry's not trying it this time around, and I am surprised about that.
Not this time. He stays put, stays where he is, and I wonder how long they can do this until Adam Ty has gone and won this race, because there's 6 laps to go, including the one they're on at the moment, and he's got more than a second's worth of a lead. That needs closing, and you need time to make the overtake as well.
Yeah, and as we say, one thing catching, another thing passing, isn't it? That's the question. We're off round Dunlop now with George Gonzaga going into the Degner 1. He's got to nail this, nail Degner 1, and then Degner 2 comes easy because you've already done the hard work through 1. There you go, off he goes out of 2. He's going to survive another bit, but is he going to survive that back straight? That's going to be the question. And how close is these 3 going to be able to get to the man in green up front? They're relying on his tyres dropping off by about lap 9, maybe lap 10, because he might have burnt them up fighting with George. But George is doing a great job. He's holding them off. Luke Maxwell's going side by side with Paul LeMay at the moment.
Yeah, I think Maxwell's got a bit of damage as a result of the contact he made with Simon Edwards. He's got nothing at the moment compared to LeMay, and I think he was the quickest driver in the field up until that incident at the final chicane. I don't know whether it's in the corners, he's struggling with a bit of downforce, or whether it's on the straights and he's got a bit too much drag now as a result of the damage, or whether it's both, but he does seem to be struggling. He's right in behind LeMay now, and maybe he'll put all that to bed by going straight back through into 8th position. Well, he's not too bad in a straight line, although I think LeMay was lifting off anyway.
Yeah.
And so Maxwell's back to 8th again, but he's not exactly catching those in front of him.
McIntyre and Dela Cruz are going at each other's as well, down in 11th and 12th, with David Walters closing in behind there. So this could be a battle that's going to... James Barry and George Gonzaga still going at it. George does survive another run down that start-finish line here, Ewan. So he's surviving lap after lap, and the others are running out of laps to get hold of him here. So all may be well for George Gonzaga. Who knows?
Yeah, he is running out of laps here. It's James Barry to try and win this race. Everyone's running out of laps now because the gap's 2 seconds to Adam Tighe in the lead of the race. And that is, well, is it crossable at this stage? May not be with this amount of time remaining. Bousson looks to the inside of Barry all over again. Can't find his way through. Into the Degners they go now. Degner 2, that's a big send from Gonzaga. He's going to come out the other side, not quite as quick as James Barry, who may well send it at the hairpin now. He knows that, just Gonzaga. He's to the inside almost as far as he can be, and he's gone too late on the brakes. Bousson and Barry have gone side by side themselves, though. They're almost self-sabotaging now as they go side by side on the exit of the hairpin. It's going to be Barry again in 3rd place.
You nailed it. Self-sabotaging for Bousson and Barry. That is just crazy. You've got the injured prey right in front of you of Gonzaga. Had the lead. He's lost the lead. Now you can get here, but you've just got to work together. George is going to defend for his life here. If he was in an NFL football team, he'd be blitzing and blitzing and blitzing and blitzing and try and defend. Take the inside. He's going to be... No, he's going to get it wrong.
Wow. I can't believe there wasn't contact there. And Gonzaga again hangs on, but this time Barry's found the inside. He's forced a way through to that position. Will Bousson try for the both of them, though, and make it 3 wide? They're almost door banging along the straight, if these cars even had doors. Here goes Bousson on the inside. We're 3 wide. Oh, no, he doesn't go for it. He doesn't go for it, and that's probably a good idea. Now he does. Straight into the side of George Gonzaga, and out to the gravel he goes. Mike Bousson may have a case to answer for. James Barry's up to 2nd. The group has been destroyed.
Oh, Mike. Was there a gap there? Let's give the man... Oh, here, I've got a funny feeling for Bousson. He may have to look at it a little bit. That angle's not the best, unfortunately, but yes. Where do you go with that one, Mr. O'Leary?
Well, I think... I don't think Mike was rash by going down the inside, but he did miss the apex, and he does have space to his right-hand side, so he doesn't keep the car as tight to the inside as he should do there, and that's what lets him drift out wide and straight into the side of George Gonzaga there, unfortunately. I mean, it's a shame for Gonzaga, especially because of all that defending that he'd done over the course of the race, and they're back nose to tail again, by the way, inside the top 10, so we may well see round 2 for those, but I don't think he was I think he was entitled to have a go there, Mike, but he didn't keep it to quite tight enough to the inside to really make it pay off.
Yeah, I don't know. So hard in it to see, but yeah, maybe he did have a case. Maybe the door was open and Mike thought he'd, throw it up there. Maybe, I don't know to be honest. But Paul LeMay, James McRitchie, that's Luke Maxwell, gone past James McRitchie. He's now going after Paul Crabb. I'm probably guessing that isn't going to be a tough move for the guys from ITGL and Team Radline. Paul Crabb doesn't normally get in the way, do we say, when Luke Maxwell comes through. Looks like David Walters has had a moment all on his own here, and was this coming into Casio? seems to be there for the man in the orange tiger print. He's going to go on the brakes far too late and unfortunately not get it stopped in time. So, yeah, interesting materialisation over that last few laps as well. We had such a good battle. These guys were going at it. Gonzaga was in there. Brousson was in there. We had Ty within touching distance. And now it's just kind of Barry and Edwards for the last 2 laps here.
It is. It's been a group that was very large at one stage, very exciting, but now it's down to just 2. And once again, Simon Edwards may well be taking strides forward in this championship by beating Maxwell and McCutcheon and losing very little to Ty and Barry. And that's even if Barry can beat him here in this race. Even if he does, I'm not entirely convinced he'll be ahead of him on the day because of the race 1 results, of course. That will be all to be worked out at the end and before we bring you the broadcast next week, of course. As you'll have noticed, we've already applied 2 drop weeks to the 5 rounds so far. So we'll add another one next week, I think, and we'll start having a look at where we're looking at for the title as a whole. Looking on the outside there, Simon Edwards again into 130R. Will there be another chance into the final chicane? No, he breaks a bit early. Maybe he's been slightly traumatised by what he's seen there in the last 11 laps or so, because previously he might have gone for that. He's not exactly got the run off the chicane that he really needed there as well. We'll see how powerful the slipstream is.
Yeah, I think, do you know what, for Simon Edwards, he's been probably the luckiest man out of this race, to be fair. You know, he's managed to stay out of trouble from the cars in front of him, and he's done it, you know, while everybody else around him has incidents, and Edwards has just done what Edwards needs to do, stay out of trouble and work his way through. He's up 7 places, started in 10th, he's now sitting in 3rd, and he's doing a great job, as he always does. However, James Barry is showing the pace that Barry had in qualifying there as well, but we thought he might give Edwards more of a challenge in race 1. Didn't. He was a master of his own downfall, unfortunately, for James Barry, and now he's showing the pace that we were expecting from him from race 1 right the way through to now.
Well, there's not long left now. Penultimate lap of the event here at Suzuka tonight, round 6 of the Radical Race Series for the first season in 2024, and Adam Ty is leading by quite some distance now. The battle really is for 2nd, maybe for 4th, but we'll see if that does materialise or whether we'll just run out of laps for that. Simon Edwards, though, has got all the chance he could want. He even had the chance into Spoon there, but decided better of it. Now into the second part of the turn they go, out onto the back straight towards 130R. You don't really need the tremendous exit there if you're Simon Edwards. He does often have good straight line speed. He'll be in the slipstream and he may well be close enough for a go. He's so tight on the inside, that would have been dangerous almost. He decides not to go for it and he'll wait for turn 1 very possibly.
To be honest, I'm glad he didn't, because that could have ended up in disastrous. I want to have a look at what Dela Cruz and Michael LeMay are at here as well. The 84 of Dela Cruz and the 777 of Michael LeMay. Dela Cruz does go through. Adam Ty doing a great job. Simon Edwards on the final lap still hasn't made it down here as well, past James Barry. So this could be a really, really interesting one for the final lap of the race. He's only got really 1 place left to try and do it, which would be that run down into Casio, and I think anywhere before that is got to rely on James Barry making the mistake. Hopefully Barry won't, because it's good to see him in 2nd where he should be, but for Edwards, he's only got 1 chance left as far as I can see.
Well, yeah, I think that chance into turn 1 has generally been the most successful one for people, but clearly he thinks that run into the final chicane is going to be the one on this last lap here. Well, barring any incidents, they're not going to get into first place. They're not going to drop off the podium, so they do have the room to fight with one another. Late on the brakes into the hairpin there, Barry goes a little bit wide, maybe even into Spoon curve. Edwards is going to have the chance, maybe not. He's 3.5 tenths back now. Maybe it is all going to come down to that final chicane.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I can't see him doing it anywhere else. He's not going to get it in Spoon. Barry's going to go through there as well. Barry knows Edwards is going to be coming. Is he going to pull the Edwards trick of weaving from side to side to side to side? Because that's really what he needs to do here, I think, as well, is just try and go from side to side, block the inside running through here on the fast left-hander, send Edwards to the outside. Edwards keep the inside line now for James Barry, but they are going to go in side by side here, Ewan.
He's brake late enough as Edwards. Barry can't shut the door. He'll have the inside for the final part. Oh, it's gone wrong and he goes around. Simon Edwards is going to finish second behind Adam Tighe, who wins at Suzuka. Edwards will finish second, and James Barry is going to drop to 7th in the final chicane. Big drama at the end of the race, and Simon Edwards will finish second.
I'll watch it again. Barry's got it.
That's I think, well...
The problem isn't, the problem is what happened, I think, to Edwards coming out of the second part of the chicane, right? And it's not coming in. I think they both are really clean coming in. But as you can see, Barry takes the first curb. Now watch Edwards on the curb on the left-hand side. It almost looks like there's wrong. Edwards jumps the curb, which unsettles his car. Bounces out, and because he's got nothing, and he comes across him, and Barry's just there. You know, nothing James Barry did. That's the problem. It was Simon Edwards bouncing that curb. Now, we've seen it in this league previously of people stopping and letting them go back through. Would that have been the case?
Well, I think it's just too late there, really, to do that for Simon Edwards, because it was, Adam Tighe was dropping places. I don't think Simon Edwards thought he deserved to drop right the way down to 7th place for that, and probably didn't in the end. But if he does get a penalty, he will drop quite a few places from this result. We'll wait and see about that one at the end of things, because it's a difficult one to call. But we have seen some drama today, I think that's fair to say. And some incidents as well to talk about. Adam Tighe wins the race, though, by 7 seconds in the end from Simon Edwards, as we just talked about. Mike Bousson led George Gonzaga, Luke Maxwell, Paul Crabb and James Barry home in the end. James McRitchie slipped to 8th place ahead of Paul LeMay and Sergio Dela Cruz. Michael LeMay just missed out on the top 10, with David Walters fighting back to 12th. Jeff McIntyre gained 3 places to get to 13th ahead of Jamie Eugene, Phil Glover. Then it was Phil Jocelyn and Paul Clark, the final drivers, inside of a minute. Jamie Bird was 18th in the end, and that was the rest of
there was only one
standings.
Back. Yeah, I think there was only one more, David Beasley, but he obviously didn't take to the start in general there, Ewan, Eva, and I think at the end of the day, it's been another interesting evening of racing, and I think one that everybody can sit back and enjoy. It was good. Was there contact? Absolutely. Is there going to be a discussion about it? I am pretty sure there will be, but it's how it all goes from that discussion. As you say, they've got the steward in now as well, which is going to make it even more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Introduced for the last round, of course, and there was certainly discussion about an incident involving George Gonzaga, ironically, in the last race, and so they'll probably be the same again with his incident with Mike Bousson earlier on today. Speaking of Mike Bousson, let's chat to him as well, shall we? In the session. Welcome in, Mike. Good to have you with us again. Let's talk about the race as a whole. First of all, race 2, and we know there was bits of contact here and there and all sorts going on throughout. I mean, just what was that second race like generally overall?
It was hard work, to be fair. It was obviously little trains forming, and you just couldn't really get the pace down. I apologise to George. George says I didn't do anything wrong because he was losing tyres, but again, it's not where I really want my race to go. I was expecting more. Is the sum of it really? But is what it is.
You mentioned there that George put no blame on yourself. What were you thinking at the time before you seen any replays? or anything while you were in the car. What did you think of the incident between yourself and George?
Ultimately, I'm in the following car. Whether he's, struggling with tyres, not obviously, clearly he was, because obviously we were behind him for a while. But at the end of the day, I'm the car behind, so I will take more of the blame or responsibility for that, in my opinion. So, but yeah.
There's plenty of other stuff going on as well. Just how difficult did it to get to defend there at the end, or was the race sort of too short for you to really lose those places that you were getting caught from behind for?
Well, in race 2, I was trying to get George to swap with me, but he wasn't having any of it. So I almost caused us both a bit of a problem at the end, because I was telling him to go by, he was telling me to keep going, and I was in the wrong gear, and I almost let the cars behind George catch us. So it almost went badly wrong.
Nearly half the field passed at the end.
Rub it in a bit.
Old Park next week. How are you feeling about going there in a week's time?
Love the track, love the combo. Apart from Suzuka, probably my second favourite track, to be fair.
Nice.
I look forward to it.
Is always one to look forward to. Is there anyone I'd like to go shout out to, Mike, before we let you go?
Shout out to George for giving me a little rub. And you guys for what I'm sure will be a great broadcast when I watch it.
You say that, but we blamed you for that incident, so you might not think that at the end.
In that case, this is the worst broadcasting association I've ever come across, to be fair.
Oi, you're only up the road from me, my Buson. Behave yourself.
Well, by the letter of the law, you started on me first, you say, so...
Just watch it and let's...
all right.
It doesn't sound like anybody's blaming anybody else, so it's all okay in the end.
Oh, we're just all nice people, aren't we? We're too nice to blame each other.
I know, yeah.
I blamed you, Mike. I'm sorry, but that's the way it was.
Well, yeah, let's see what the new stewarding system's got to say about it,
Yes, we will do. Mike, thanks very much for coming to chat to us again, and we will see you next week.
Pleasure, guys. Catch you later.
Thanks very much. Mike Booson there chatting to us at the end of a successful evening for himself, I would say. Simon Edwards had an arguably more successful evening, and we can chat to him now as well. Welcome in, Simon. Good to have you with us. Let's first of all talk about that second race, because there were two bits of contact to reference. First of all, the one with Luke, where I'd imagine you didn't know very much about it at all. And second of all, the one with James, which will be very fresh in the mind, of course, at the end of that race. Just what are your thoughts after that rather frantic second race of the evening?
Yeah, like you say, I saw Luke in the last second. I managed to straighten the wheels, so I didn't damage the wheels. I think I had a tiny bit of aero damage, but nothing bad. Just got myself back together, got back to the pack. I was desperately not trying to hit my teammate that I'll be doing the Daytona 24 tomorrow with. But guess what? So I don't know if I could have made any more on the inside there. I was intentionally going very far over the curb. I was just trying to put him under pressure to see if I could get the position. But it wasn't intentional at all, and I think I would have lost the position if he'd got a straight run out there. I'll let the stewards work that one out.
We will leave it to them. First race though for you was very good indeed. I mean, what was sort of your thoughts when you saw the fact that Luke and I think it was Luke and James again, wasn't it? Who were going side by side for second place on the opening lap, and once you saw you got a second gap, did you think at that point you almost won the race on lap one, or was it a lot of work to do from there on?
Well, I had to hold my pace up. Luke's got pretty much my race pace, so I had to go for it there. But at the end, because I was 0x through, and you get a little bonus for 0x race. My last 5 laps was me panicking not to do a 1x. My pace dropped off a bit, but luckily it was still enough. Second race that wasn't 0x, I'll tell you that now. No. It's about 10.
If anyone got 0x in that second race, I'll be impressed. Because it wasn't just you lot who were in the walls throughout that, I can guarantee that. Away from the Radicals bridge, please, Simon. Who are you doing Daytona with, and in what class?
We're going to try and go in the Porsche GT3 thing. I described that accurately, by the way. with James Berry, if he'll talk to me again, and George Gonzaga. And we're going to try and do it with 3.
Wow.
So the other 2 are rookies to this. I think they've done other classes a bit, faster classes. They've never done the one that has to herd all the cats. Yeah, we don't know how it's going to go. We might all fall asleep after about 6 hours.
Well, good luck for that. That three drivers for 24 hours is a big ask indeed. So, yeah, good luck for that tomorrow. Last of all, is there anyone I'd like to give a shout out to, Sam, before we let you go?
I'll give a shout out to James there. He had great pace and everything, and he was working his way forward, and I worked him back. So I'll dedicate that to James. I know that's not a great dedication, but there you go.
I'll be very honest of you, but there we are. Simon, thanks very much for coming to join us again, and look forward to seeing you next week. Good luck tomorrow.
Yep, thank you
very much. Simon Ebb was maybe not the round winner overall, but probably was, to be fair, with a first and a second, and certainly extending his championship lead over his closest rivals. As always, we can chat to Phil Glover as well here at the end of our broadcast. Welcome in again, Phil. Good to have you with us. Let's start in race 2 with you as well, because a lot was going on for everyone there. And in that one, and I noticed you did get into contact. I think it was on the opening lap, maybe the second one. But very early on, you made side-to-side contact at Spoon Corner. Just how was the start generally for you?
The start was okay, and I was tucked in behind Simon, and I think there was a bit of drama in front, but I managed to miss all that. And then, yeah, I'd be interested on your take on who it was that did I hit them, or did we both come together as, a racing incident? I don't know. It's always difficult in VR, but I remember thinking, that put me right to the back as usual. It's the same old story for me often.
Well, I think at the time I said you drifted out wide into him, but I wouldn't know really without looking, because we only looked at it once, and that is often not very accurate. So let's we'll have another look now, shall we? Obviously you can't see this, Phil, because we're not sharing the screen to you at the moment. But just having a look again. James, are you willing to give a verdict there?
Yeah, I think the problem is Marici had the line on the right-hand side, Phil, and you did miss a little bit of the apex there as you come back onto the track. So, yeah, it is a tough one. It might just be down to a racing incident. McRitchie could have given you more room. You could have made the apex a little bit better. But I think at the end of the day, I'd be very surprised if anything comes of it.
Yeah, well, because of course we've got the stewards now. We've got to be really careful, haven't we? But apart from that, and if it was my fault, I apologise. Apart from that, I had a great race with Damien. We were right at the back of the pack pretty much, but it was a good tussle on the second race anyway. And the first race, I don't know, didn't qualify very well. I've had a cold this week, so tonight's been the first I've actually gone on, so I get my excuses out of the way.
That's fine. It's nice to see you on the grid again, of course, for this round. Is there anyone I'd like to give a shout out to, Phil, before we let you go this evening?
Well, I think just everybody in the league as usual. They make it what it is, and of course the stewards and admin have got a really difficult task. I wouldn't fancy it, looking after us lot. So to them as well.
So, Phil, thanks so much for coming to chat to us as always, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers for now. Bye.
Very much, Phil Glover there at the end of tonight's racing at Suzuka. Well, that's just about going to do it for us here this evening. James, it's been very interesting racing. I've got to say the first race was a little bit following one another, as you sometimes get at Suzuka, but the second race absolutely delivered.
Yeah, it definitely did, and we knew it would with the cars coming through, and I think that's the thing when you've got this reverse grid situation, the cars coming back through, the faster cars coming back through the field. It was always going to happen. We were always going to be in for a classic. Next week, though, we're in for an Alton Park classic. And just see this being amazing. But tonight was good. Suzuka did deliver. It was a good, nice, clean race, and well done to everyone.
Yeah, it was fantastic and thoroughly enjoyable as well to watch this evening. A big thank you to everyone who has been watching over the course of tonight. It's been a pleasure to have you along once again. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt, and until we see you in 1 week's time at Alton Park, it's goodbye for now.